Hello viewers, you're watching News 9 Facebook Live with me, Surat Suresh. Well, we are all celebrating because India now has announced that two of the vaccine candidates will be going into human trials, and they have also gone ahead and said that yes, by July 7th, they will have to enroll themselves, and probably one of the vaccine candidate as well, ICMR has said that by August 15th, we will be having the vaccine. Well, not just that, 4 days ago, India's first indigenous vaccine candidate had gotten an approval as well, and the ICMR, that is, it is working alongside ICMR, that is the Bharat Biotech, which is in accordance with the ICMR itself. They will be working together. As far as the ICMR is concerned, the director, Balram Bhargava, he had also said that yes, this is one of the best vaccines that they will be having, and probably they can be moving forward. But now, just a day after the ICMR announced, or they released a circular which said that by August 15th you will be having your vaccine, and probably the vaccine will be ready by Independence Day, we could say. So now a lot of netizens and scientists have come forward. They have said that it is not a joke. It is not easy. The time period given for the development of vaccine, they will have to finish human trials. That will take a lot of time. That is phase 3. We will be explaining as to what are the phases which are there as well. But it is not a joke, and it is not on animals that this is going to be tested on. It is going to be humans, and that is going to take a long period, is what they have said. Now, for starters, 7 of the 12 participating institutes are yet to receive a green signal itself for approval. That is, what happens is, you will, if you have a vaccine candidate, you will have to get it approved by the ethics committee. So the ethics committee plays an important role here, because they will be checking for your preclinical trial studies. They will be going through the entire animal testing process as well. They'll be checking for your information. They'll be checking for the study, how much dosage was given, what was the placebo which was given, and how much of it has actually worked out, an immunoresponse, how much was it there. So to check all of this, it will take a lot of time, and then approval will have to come, and after the approval is when they can start the human trial. Probably this is the phase where all of the scientists are quite worried as to whether or not within 45 days, even if they take it at the fast track process, whether or not it will be obtained. Now let's quickly understand what are the phases of a drug development or a vaccine. How long will it take to actually develop a vaccine here? Because the mumps vaccine took almost 4 years for the scientists to even develop a vaccine. So there are 3 phases usually. The first will be the preclinical studies which will be done. They will try to understand the genome of the virus. They will try to understand which are the spike proteins, which are the target proteins, which they will have to look at, and how the primers can be used, and which are the methods in which they can go ahead. Because now we have already seen that Moderna's RNA method is there, or they will be, the virus load itself they will be taking, and they will be trying to use the dead virus as well for vaccine. And there are other methods in which they are trying to target the protein, and probably that can help in fighting off the virus. This is what they have understood. So preclinical studies is very much important, because that will give them a base to even go forward with their vaccine development. Now, after all of this, the tabulations will be there. They will have to go forward. Even if they have to start the phase 2, that is the animal trials as well, they will have to get an approval from the ethics committee as well. What happens is, preclinical studies, after it's done, they will have to submit it to the ethics committee. Then the ethics committee will approve that, and then it will go into the animal trials. In animal trials, what they do, they'll be checking for mice or the monkey, and they will also be checking for basically the immunoresponse which will be there, because it is said that the genome component of a monkey, or for that matter even mice, is quite close to that of a human. The respiratory tract, all of this is quite close to the human body functioning as well. So that is why the human testing will be done, and they'll be checking for the immunoresponse, whether or not antibodies are actually developed in their system when they are administered with this particular virus. Now, third phase is the human trials, which most of the vaccine candidates are in. even the human trials for that matter, there are 4 stages. Well, the first stage, if we are speaking about, the first stage will be where they will be selecting a few of the candidates. There will be 20 to 40 candidates between the age group of 20 to 40 again. So they will be choosing this wisely. They will be checking for what are the reactions which are coming in. The dosage as well will be quite low. So the viral load will be low and the dosage will be quite low. Pfizer is in this stage and BioNTech is in this stage, and GSK as well. We'll understand the other phases as well, but we are joined in by Dr. Satyanarayana Mysore, who's the HOD for the pulmonology as well as the respiratory tract in Manipal Hospital. Many thanks for joining us, Doctor. Firstly,
thank you.
We were speaking about the phases of drug development. Probably you'll be able to explain the human trials as well. Now, as far as we know, Covaxin is in the 3rd phase of human trials. So, if you can explain as to how this human trials actually happen and how long a procedure it is to firstly understand how long a procedure it is to develop a vaccine.
Correct. So, exploratory stage, preclinical stage, followed by clinical development, regulatory review. Exploratory stage will include understanding the virus completely. How does the virus stimulate the immune system? How does it get the immune system angry? What are the touch points on the virus that the immune system is actually able to recognize? This is exploratory phase. Understanding, review of literature. All these things are coming in the exploratory phase. In that phase itself, you can look at between that and the preclinical, actually you do look at beta studies, which are basically, can we actually manufacture a vaccine? If so, I have identified the target, but how do I get it? Does it require a vector? Vector is a vehicle that takes the molecule and gives it into the delivers to the site. How do I do it? Do I kill the existing SARS-CoV-2 virus and present it to immune system? Or should I give a live virus or heat attenuated vaccine? So number of ways in which you can make the bacteria, the virus less stronger, which will only elicit the immune system but not give you the disease.
Correct.
This all comes into the preclinical stage. In the clinical development stage, there are phase 1, which is to define in healthy volunteers what is the dosage that you can go up to. Phase 2, where you are looking at dose area under the curve. At what dose, how much concentration comes out. Healthy volunteers, how much can they tolerate? In the stage 3 comes efficacy. If I give 1 ml of this injection, will it be successful in stimulating? If I give 2 ml, will it be disaster? So all these are in stage 3, and that whatever end point I have set in, saying that I want the antibody level to be raised to 10-fold. Is that achieved by giving this 1 ml or 2 ml, whatever? Correct. Stage 4, I did not observe any side effects in animal studies. I did not see any side effect in phase 1, phase 2, but phase 3 also seemed successful because patients were very closely observed. In a clinical trial, patients are observed 24/7. So phase 4 is the post-marketing survey where people like us use and say, look, my patient had this terrible headache. I don't have a reason. I think vaccine needs to be blamed for it. Is it possible? And that will actually go to the regulatory authorities. Correct. Therefore, there is no way the timeline can be fixed. Point number 1. Point number 2, while the entire scientific community is criticizing ICMR, I feel that maybe ICMR should come and clarify. This could be a miscommunication. When I read 10 times, I get a feeling that they must have said deadline for starting the regulatory approvals, registering it the clinicaltrial.gov.in. These kind of things should be done. That is
But
what probably
Doctor,
they meant.
to clarify on that, from what I have read, they have said that by July 7 they have to get themselves enrolled. Well, even if they have to go to the the committee itself, the ethics committee, they themselves will take another 45 days to close to 2-3 months to even study the preclinical trials and the animal studies, and then probably they will be allowing for human trials as well. So even that phase itself will take a lot of time.
Correct. Let me interject here. There is a provision. When there is no drug and the disease is devastatingly killing people, then you can apply for a expedited, accelerated approval process.
Okay. That is a
And
fast
that
process.
happens in cancer, it happens in pandemics, it happens in the kind of epidemic diseases.
Okay.
That is fine. I wouldn't go into that. There is a provision though. But I don't think what has been said is practical in any way.
Correct. Doctor, one more thing. Now, you have said that there are 4 phases of human trials. Now, first phase, the population or the candidates will
Exploratory, no. That comes in this exploratory phase, preclinical stage, clinical development, finally regulatory review.
No, correct. What I was
Now, in
speaking
the
of is the human trial phase. If you're speaking
correct,
of, there
that
are 4
comes in
phases in that itself.
correct,
So, first you will be
correct.
checking for
That
20
is
to 40 and then probably 100 plus and then 1000. Now, which is the phase which might take a lot of time? Because if we are seeing here,
phase
uh,
3.
phase 3 will
Phase
take a
3.
lot of time.
Where is
Why
stringent
exactly? Is
control?
it because there'll be a placebo and they will have to check for the dosage level as well, which is the perfect dosage, which does not give side effects at the same time, probably will have more efficacy in treating the person?
See, it depends upon what endpoint do I set in. Am I going to say that I will take a shot, I will put the COVID vaccine, virus in an inhaler and take a shot, and say that despite inhaling COVID, SARS-CoV-2 virus, the vaccine protected me? That doesn't seem to be practical.
Correct.
So what are they going to look at? They are going to say, I injected you with a particle A, and this is giving rise to 10-fold increase in COVID antibodies. Now it is a totally different thing. You may have antibodies which may not protect you against the virus.
Correct.
Therefore, that comes to clinical stage 4, where you are vaccinated and you observe the people, say for a period of 2 years or 3 years, and then say 60% of people who took vaccine did not register COVID disease over a period of 2 years, and therefore the vaccine is efficacious by at least 60%. The number needed to treat, that is, if I give vaccine to 10,000 people, I can prevent 100 deaths. This will take obviously time, and there is no humanly way other
Probably
than
even the 4th phase, doctor, if I'm not wrong, even the 4th phase when it goes and the authority, the regulatory board will also have to check for the efficacy, and then they'll need more proof. So they'll have to conduct more trials as well. So probably even the 4th
Correct.
phase might take a lot of time.
I'll give you an example. Ranitidine came as a life-saving drug in the 80s and 70s. Ranitidine, when it was discovered, it became an answer to peptic ulcer. It stayed in the market, it had its glorious time, and suddenly in the last 3-4 years, somebody said maybe it has a cancer-causing potential.
Oh, okay.
So, after a drug has been used for 10 years or more, the post-regulatory review can be appealed, and somebody can say, no, it is not, giving the benefit, or
And they can stop
it is
the
giving
production
more
of the
harm
drug.
than the benefit. Therefore, yes, we have to keep our minds open. It is
Sir,
very, very important.
Doctor, your comments on the 45 days. What do you have to say? Do you feel it's too ambitious by the ICMR at this time? Because even Balram Bhargava, for that matter, he has retired as of today. So probably they were too ambitious with respect to getting the vaccine within 45 days, or probably they will have to think again, revisit what their decisions were, and probably they can go forward with it.
No, I would just say it is unscientific. Even Harry Potter cannot achieve such a magical thing in that time span.
Absolutely. Many thanks, Doctor, for joining us with all
Thank
the
you.
input. Clearly, probably all the experts across India now and across the world, they have been saying that probably
Thank you.
this time what we will have to think about is whether or not we can achieve this milestone. Even though, yes, India has been in the forefront, we have been working tirelessly to achieve and to attain the first ever vaccine for COVID-19. But 45 days, it is quite hard for any of the company. It is not even possible, according to scientists, that within 45 days you can have a vaccine, even if it's a fast-tracked one. But we will have to wait and watch how the Covaxin, whether or not will be able to achieve, or Bharat Biotech will be able to achieve this particular milestone in the coming days. Well, what do you feel? You can leave your comments as well in the comment section below. We will join you next time on Facebook Live. Many thanks for joining us.